I don't quite understand. Like, why are they doing that?
It's a money grab. It's a pretty blatant money grab. Ajit Pai with the FCC, when they made it not a federally regulated utility,
Really?
then net neutrality went out the window, and then they started doing data caps. It's not something they could really restrict before.
That's
Um,
silly.
Comcast kind of told on themselves at the beginning of the pandemic, when everybody was quarantined and started working from home.
Mm-hmm.
They actually showed that there wasn't any significant strain on their infrastructure. So the idea that limiting data has any effect on bandwidth it's a myth.
Yeah.
Like it's a lie so that they can get more money, and they're doing it because they can.
Yeah, sorry about that. So Ben was sitting there and he was like, "The mouse is dead," and we're like, "Oh yeah, I need to switch the batteries on that." And then I'm like, "Oh wait, the computer's dead." Hopefully it doesn't happen again. We had 2 or 3 things open with the hope that I could show you some of the character sheet and stuff, but the internet's been real shitty, and that's actually the conversation we were just having. This idea that apparently what?
Comcast is instituting data caps for home internet users that aren't paying for unlimited plans. And it's not like, your cell phone provider charging data caps, which is stupid anyway. Like, they shouldn't even be doing it, let alone home internet, while everybody is working from home.
Yeah, not to get political about it, but I mean it is something that affects live streaming and what we're doing. Continue talking about that for a moment. I'm going to free up space on my computer.
All right. But the good news is, at least where he and I are located, we don't have Comcast. They're not an internet provider in our area. This is more the northeast part of the country, the U.S., but they're looking at like a 1.2 terabyte data cap, which it's about hundreds of gigs of data to stream HD video. If you're talking about as a content creator, uploading things and all of that, I mean, you have to pay for the unlimited plan. And typically, if they're instituting data caps, then the unlimited plan comes with throttling. And yeah, that's it's going to be fun for a lot of people. I'm wondering how much consumers are going to bite back on this. Because realistically, if this sticks, then you can reasonably expect every other ISP to follow in the same vein relatively shortly after. Because the idea that there's competition between these companies is ludicrous.
What's the South Park episode? When you get a chance, let me know.
Yeah.
Because there's like a 15-second delay on this. Okay, so hopefully the internet does not go the way of the dodo. It would suck, and we should. I don't know if we can like vote on it or something. We probably should.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that they tend to sneak by. Oh yeah, here you go. It's for security. All right. Back to gaming.
Yeah.
So we have Feel the Soil. You have corrected.
I was cleaning this up a little bit.
Oh, Solstice Whisper.
Solidify
Cool, okay.
this. Okay, so firm mages are able to slowly solidify or liquefy natural materials, affecting large volumes.
Requires concentration
Of material. Requires concentration.
intends to wreak havoc on both mind and body.
Mm-hmm. Due to strain.
Yeah, due to strain.
What about should there be some special mission of like particularly resilient materials,
Yeah.
like special materials?
Yes, there definitely should.
So affecting large volumes of material, or
Particularly resilient
particularly resilient.
substances.
Requires concentration. Okay, we're good. 1B, Solstice's Whisper. You get stillness and flash freeze. As the forms of natural materials become clearer to the slurry, she learns how to find the stillness in both inanimate and animate objects, and even in the concepts.
Oh. Oh shit.
Okay.
And even in the metaphors.
Stillness allows her to perceive objects and ideas differently from her fellows, as if they are frozen, and sometimes grants her profound perspective. Perceiving the stillness of nature allows her to momentarily flash freeze objects. This reduces a foe's action die 1 step. Sigh. Action sigh.
Reduce should be, yeah. 1 should have a 1 in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
Slurries do so sparingly, as doing so tends to injure or damage physical objects, dealing an additional a die 4 damage.
I'm going to put objects or creatures.
Yep.
Because, you know, whether you're sapient or sentient, you ain't no object.
Agreed. So, flash freeze, bam! If you get flash frozen, your action die is reduced. Now, when we started the stream, we were talking about the Dreadlord dice. Players get an action die, which is a die 10. Action die. Die 10. That's a die 10. And there's only a few things that reduce that. There's only a few things that boost it. So reduce means it goes down 1 step. So it goes from a die 10 to a die 8 if you get flash frozen. If it gets boosted, it goes from a die 10 to a die 12. Yeah. There's only a few things that do it, this being one of them. I can think of like 3 things, I think.
I don't know really of anything off the top of my head that boosts it.
Oh, boosting it. Biomancy.
Oh, yeah, I suppose you could.
Oh, wait, no. Biomancy would do aspects. It wouldn't do action die. Anyway. Point is, this is pretty powerful.
Focus could.
Focus back in the day. So, here's the question. Should it really be giving 2 traits and a bonus die of damage, and it's able to reduce action die? I mean, that's a pretty... In my mind, I kind of wonder if stillness in and of itself should be something, and flash freeze should be something else. Just separating those 2 powers.
They're together, I think, because stillness is sort of like centered, right? It is a meditative concept.
Yeah.
So the issue that you get into in terms of is it OP, obviously, is when you're affecting other people, so flash freeze.
Right.
I think they're fine together. I think really the question is it a rank 1 discovery?
Do you think that it should reduce the action die and also deal damage? Or just do one of those?
I think so the dealing damage is it's actually a shortcoming of the power.
Yes.
It is unavoidable damage.
Right.
So I think dealing additional damage is problematic, but the idea of freezing something in this way will destroy something.
Yep.
or weaken it structurally it's less than ideal. Maybe you could revisit it and then avoid that damage later on. Or work towards a custom discovery or something.
Slurries do so sparingly.
As doing so tends to injure or damage physical objects.
And I guess we could just leave it like that. But the question is, how much does it damage them? Or you could just have it a narrative thing, which could be good or bad. You know.
Mm-hmm. I don't think. I mean, again, the stats, the statistics for these spells are in how are they cast, right?
You mean the Sorcos?
The Malsorcos.
The Malsorcos.
The Malsorchos.
Malsorcha.
Mm.
They're not spells. They're Malsorcha.
They're not spells. I don't know who said that. Dirty fucker. I don't know why I've been so bad about that lately.
What?
Saying spells.
Do you think it should be rank 1?
I think making that damage a writer, as in it's a bad thing and not desirable. I think that makes it a rank 1.
Okay. Should it say slurries do so sparingly as doing so unavoidably injures or damages?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bam.
Put the targeted objects or people. Or creatures.
Creatures, right.
Yeah. I kind of see this as like freezing Han Solo and Carbonite.
Truth. Cable companies can go, informative murder porn, season 17, episode 2. I want to see it. And yeah, Megan knows too. She's a content creator, and cable companies blow goats.
Yep.
Agreed. All right. Primal balance. You get prime balance.
Heyo. This is that thing that I was talking about earlier.
A slurry's control over her physical balance improves dramatically with the legendary ability of Primal Balance. When activated, she may anchor her feet to the soil, ka-tank, or she may gain a preternatural balance when touching the earth. I don't know where I came up with preternatural. I didn't come up with it. It's a word. I forget what game or book I got it from. But the moment that I got it, I used it all the time.
It may have been a White Wolf thing.
It may have been. That sounds like a White Wolf word.
Preternature, that's a thing. You know, I always associate it with not just supernatural or extraordinary. It's not just extraordinary. It's for something kind of horrific like a vampire.
Yeah.
You know, it is something that is so extraordinary as to be unnerving or uncomfortable.
Like in those horror movies when they do the insect movements, which
like this, the weird contortions and spider climbing and
Any attempt to uproot or push her over. Wow. Any attempt to uproot or push her over gains the impaired.
Knock her down?
Yeah, that's probably good.
Do uproot, move, or knock her down?
Damn it.
Oh, dang it.
Gains gains the impaired trait, which it doesn't.
Not at all.
That is not what it does. It is in fact simply impaired.
And we don't need to define impairment.
Nope.
Any attempt is
impaired.
Yep.
So, would you like to explain impaired?
So impaired just means what I just deleted, actually. So if you didn't read it, then too bad. It means that you can only get one success on each of your dice. Now, impairment's a bitch.
Impairment's a bitch. We're going to do some dice rolling.
And the reason why, here's your big old D12. I know
big
you love
old, look at that big old D12.
There's your
Oh, my
D10.
God.
It's black, so it shows up on camera. Here's a D6.
There's a D6.
So, let's say that you're big and strong. So everybody gets a D10, right? Because they're a hero. They get a
Action
D10.
die.
That's the action die. This is a big, strong guy. So they get a D12.
Yep, so if they're doing brawn, they'll get this. And remember, if you roll a 4 or higher, it's 1 success. If you roll an 8 or higher, it's 2 successes. So
Yeah.
normally...
And you add them together.
Right. Normally, I'm going to roll this because I roll my action die. I roll my brawn die if I'm trying to strangle someone or whatever.
Or knock them down.
Or knock them
And
down.
actually, you've got special rocket boots, so you move real fast and you're going to bowl them over.
Right, so you get to roll all 3 of these guys.
Yeah, sprock boots.
I'm told to throw down. Okay. I roll like a biatch. So this is 0 successes. By the way, had this been a 1, so I rolled a 1, and a 6. Had this D12 been a 1, this would have been a critical failure. So the more dice you have, the less chance you have of rolling critical failure.
Actually, no. Critical failure is when you roll. Remember, we changed this a couple of weeks ago. It's not his fault. The critical failure happens on rolling snake eyes on these 2 dice, the action die and the aspect die.
Well,
the other dice don't matter.
Call me stupid. So the point is...
But yes, if you had rolled a 1 on that, it would have been bad.
So 1 means no successes because it's beneath 4. 6 means I got 1 success.
This is also beneath 4.
Also, so I got 1 success on this roll. That is a normal roll. Now, if this roll had been impaired, same result, no problem. But let's say I make that roll again, also impaired.
Forget that happened. Don't look.
This is a better roll.
This is better.
So normally, this is above. This is a 6, so that's 1 success. 7, 1 success, and 8, 2 successes. So 2, 3, 4. 2 successes, plus 1, 4 successes. If it's impaired, though, you can only get 1 success on any die. Meaning, this is just 3 successes. 1, 2, 3.
Now, keep it there.
Yep.
Now, you'll notice the more dice you have, the more unkind impairment is, because it affects all of your dice, not just 1 or 2. It's all of them. So let's say that your rocket boots were actually a D8, and you rolled 6 successes, right? 8, 8, and 8. 2, 2, 2. 6 successes. On an impaired roll, you just get 3.
Right.
Your big dice, your special abilities, all that count for nothing.
Right.
So it's really inconvenient.
It's pretty heinous.
What this means is that someone with prime balance using this is very difficult to budge.
So even like a even like, a giant or I don't know, a spacecraft or something, technically
I think at some point
gets boned.
at some point, yeah, like, oh good, wow, that person fell funny when I hit them. They didn't move.
But they didn't move.
They didn't move.
There's like,
they're like a greasy smear. They didn't move.
But they didn't move. Damn it.
It's like, wow, their feet are still on the ground, right where the rest of their body isn't anymore.
All right, slurries, particularly adept using this technique, tend to be able to scale unseemly surfaces. So naked surfaces.
Or just dirty.
Dirty surfaces.
I don't want to touch it.
They experiment with textures of earth and aegis, discovering secrets in the earth that flummox other mages.
I love the word flummox. That's a good one.
It flummoxes them, okay?
Yeah.
It bewilders.
That has to stay in. I love it. It's great.
Now, the spirit is there. Slurries, particularly adept at using this technique, tend to, not always,
How about just are able?
Are
to.
able. Because I don't like,
Are
be able. Be able. Are able to scale
unseemly.
unseemly.
It's like there's a greasy cooking service in this.
Now, hold on.
This.
Am I thinking of unseemly, or is unseemly? Are those two different words? I don't know.
Unseemly. I feel like it's something that would make you uncomfortable. To
right.
deal with. So the idea of like
it's unseemly, right?
Like something like a greasy
Inappropriate.
wall in a kitchen.
Unattractive.
Like, yeah,
Oops.
no one wants to touch this old
Yes.
10-year-old grease.
They're just,
I'll do it.
but they're.
I'll climb it.
I'll climb it. I'll climb it. All right, so we need a different word there. To scale. Unruly.
No.
I want to use an unword.
Unscalable.
Unscalable? Shouldn't be unscalable.
They can scale the unscalable.
Seemingly unscalable.
Maybe that's what you were going for.
Maybe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, unseemly was not what I was going for. Although upon reading it, I knew it was wrong. Isn't that weird?
Well, that's why you have drafts and then you go back and edit.
It's weird. Like when you write, do you speak out loud or do you do it in your head?
Oh, I speak out loud.
See, I think that.
Phantasmagoric.
Whoa.
That's a great one.
I feel like when I write, I don't speak out loud, and the inner monologue is like a different part of the brain than the speaking monologue. And, it's like you write something and then you read it out loud and you're like, this is dumb.
Read what Daniel wrote.
La magisto eble sorchos sim. Indeed. Yeah. Unseemly means not proper or appropriate. Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. So scale
Impropriety.
seemingly
Unscalable.
surfaces. I'll scale it.
I'll
They
climb it.
experiment. They are known to experiment with textures of earth and aegis and discover secrets in the earth that flummox other mages. I don't like that either. I want to use flummox, but we need to reword it so it doesn't sound stupido.
What don't you like about the sentence? Because I think it's fine.
You think so?
What are you trying to convey?
They experiment with textures of earth and aegis, discovering secrets in the earth that flummox other mages. For some reason, it rhymes in my mind.
Earth and Aegis, mages.
Flummox other mages. Yeah.
Mages and Aegis.
Mages, aegis.
So what are textures?
I don't know. It's artsy.
I don't know.
It's artsy. I just imagine some dude's like, oh, I'm into this dirt. He's like playing with like the granules and shit, and other mages are like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? I'm keeping it.
I'm making texture paint. I'm painting with textures.
Painting. Hand of the con. Shaping.
Slurries. This is possessive.
Slurry's gain.
It's their game.
It's their gain.
The ability to move and shape Earth.
Should it be?
It should be IE.
Slurry's. Oh, wait, it's up here too.
Oh no! We missed it. Oh no! Is it in others?
Dude, probably.
Go up.
Damn it! It's everywhere.
No. That one's good. That one's fine.
Hey, Slurry's control. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. We got it here. Come on, Slurry. What a stupid word. Who made that up?
Okay.
No, I think we got it everywhere.
We're good. Good.
God damn it. Apparently, there's a couple of my friends won't watch my web series because I say, not because I say the word fuck. Seriously, in the first episode, like 32 times. My one character.
Yeah.
Okay? It's because I say Jesus and God damn it like 3 times. And they're like, I just couldn't take it. I had no idea that it was that offensive. I really didn't.
It is.
I expected the F-bomb to carry a lot more weight.
Mm.
Apparently not, though.
No, I mean, everybody's got their trigger words, you know.
Yeah.
That one, yeah. If they're of a particular religious bent,
Then it really gets them.
it
Well,
gets them.
not that people that are religious are necessarily religious or not necessarily religious are watching this, but I apologize if I have offended you. I am not trying to offend anyone. You will know when I am trying to offend you. It's not that I'm afraid to offend you, motherfuckers. It's that, I just want it to be purposeful. Okay. Hand to the con, shaping.
Slurries gain the ability to move and shape Earth, reaching out from themselves and warping that which is solid
That which is solid.
into forms they see in their mind's eye. Mages of the notable colleges tend to agree that shaping is of the more complex techniques.
Definitely.
Is among
It's among.
the more complex techniques.
It is,
Slurries begin only being able to clumsily shape materials and to form shoddy constructions. This improves as a slurry gains her ranks in manipulation.
We don't really need
that
that
is
last sentence.
redundant, but on it. Well, hold on.
You dig it?
Honestly, I think it's fine. It is redundant, but I like it.
Reduty?
Yeah. Reaching out from themselves and warping that which is solid.
You should call them college mages.
Into forms they see in their mind's eye. Mages in the notable colleges tend to agree that shaping is among the more complex techniques. Slurries only being able to, for some reason I don't like slurries begin only being able. I don't like the placement of only, but I don't know where else to put it.
Slurries begin.
Being able to clumsily shape materials.
Yeah,
It just doesn't need only.
Yeah. Mages of the notable colleges implies that there are not notable colleges, and they would not agree with this.
Yeah, but there are colleges that are...
Provincial colleges.
Well, there are provincial colleges. They're not going to be looked upon in the same way. And there are also colleges in the city that don't have great reputations.
Truth. So I guess it stays.
There's that Arcanist college that no one trusts.
See, you have it all over, guys. Truth. They could never game with me. Yes, that surprised me, but it really makes me laugh and wonder a lot about your other viewers, besides your friends that I know and have gamed with. Yeah, I mean, the other viewers, really, it's you guys, and every so often we'll get like 2 or 3 other people. But, I turn off a lot of people with my sailor jibe. Jibe is the wrong word there, but whatever. I think it's fine. So that's the hand of the con. This is, of course, referring to Craster Khan, who is one of the demigods / deities / powers. I really want to call them powers.
Well, they are powers.
They are powers.
Although Craster Khan is not a demigod at all.
No. He's a deity. But
Yeah.
if you really get down to like the mythos, they're really all just beings of power that,
They're really all just...
kind of got away with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can't get into details on that, but we know what we're talking about.
Right. We know.
just had a moment. Let us have that. Well, let's talk about Entropic Shield and the body of the Khan.
The body of the Khan.
But his body...
His body. Go on.
Maws are able to protect themselves with what is called the body of the Khan.
Body of the Khan. It's a
What?
body of a Khan.
What, babe?
What, babe? I don't know the rest of it, though.
You remind me of the babe.
What, babe?
The babe with the power.
What power?
The power that you do.
Who do?
No,
Damn it. You do?
You do?
You
do what?
Do what?
The power of the babe.
The power of the babe.
Wait. What is it? No.
Is it
Sorry, we got messed up. So it's, you remind me of the babe. What babe? The babe with the power. What power? The power of voodoo. Hoodoo? You do. Do what? Remind me of the babe. Yeah. Sorry, I fucked it up.
They envelop themselves with an entropic shield that acts like physical medium armor.
That's right.
The armor lasts for as long as the maw maintains concentration. While lay people, actually I was calling them lay zens there for a while.
Should this be concatenated?
Yes.
And we can just say the protection.
Yep. Lasts for as long as the maw maintains her concentration, or just concentration?
Just concentration.
While lay people, I want to get away from the word people, and provincials alike. How about while provincials tend to think of it as a blessing?
Sure.
Because lay people actually are provincials. Or while zens of the provinces.
Provincials.
While provincials tend to think of it as a blessing, or perhaps witchcraft. However,
I'm going to remove that word.
maws know the moderate truth about this power. The moderate truth. Listen, nothing can be 100%. Know the truth about this power. Attacks made against them are not repelled so much as they are slowed and brought to an equilibrium. I know what I mean. Slings and arrows might lose momentum and fall short of their target, while flames would be rebuffed before burning them all.
I think that's great.
Know the truth about this power. Attacks made against them are not repelled so much as they are slowed and brought to an equilibrium. Oh, okay. Alright. Entropic Shield. Sirens of Rorigan.
Salt in the blood. A maw who extends her command of motion into the watery elements is known as a siren. Even during an abrupt squall to which Craster seas are prone, she has salt in the blood, and so is at home when at sea. Or prone to squall. Yeah, no, that works. Sorry, the two witches throwing me.
Yeah, if we reordered that, I think it would work a little better. She's at home at the sea even during an abrupt squall.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So let's do this.
Yep. Also, that part about centered should probably be in centered.
No, it's specifically about this.
The dog is snoring. He is dreaming of a rabbit.
So she has salt in the blood, and so is at home and at sea, even during an abrupt squall. Even during an abrupt squall.
Why'd you wake up?
Such as those common in Craster seas. Okay, I fixed it, I think.
A maw who extends her command of motion into the watery elements is known as a siren. She has salt in the blood, and so is at home when at sea, even during the abrupt squalls common to Craster's seas. I don't like the double C's there, but I mean it works. She may benefit from her centered affinity while sailing on or swimming within the natural waters. Moreover, sirens also gain the ability to loosely command the waters about them, slowing or speeding them, or calming or exciting them. A siren is unable to create weather patterns or to fully disperse a raging storm, as this is the purview of air and flame. However, she could calm down the waters around her boat to weather its fury, like Jesus. However, that's a cool power.
Yes, it is.
So you are a siren of Rorigan. You're able to, people want you on the sea with them. They want you on your boat or on their boat.
Home at the sea, common to Craster's waters.
Yeah, Craster's waters. That's good.
I want to fix your complaint. Waters. Let's talk about that Ferris touch.
Magnetism. Tapping into the ferrous nature of natural elements allows a slurry to manipulate them through magnetism. She may concentrate. That's right. Shit. She may concentrate to manipulate inherent magnetic fields to increase or decrease their effect on ferrous substances. Did I just say that twice? Items with ferrous materials comprising a majority of their composition can be affected. While a living creature could possibly be affected, the average Zen could not be affected beyond gaining a headache or feeling dizzy, as even their blood does not have enough ferrous materials to count. Bending an iron sword would be moderately difficult to accomplish, but doable. Collapsing a Thurgic tank would be epic, though very difficult. Ferrous touch grants a slurry the ability to create a magnetic field that protects her from metallic objects. The field reduces damage from metallic objects by half, but has no effect on other objects. So basically, you get to be Magneto.
Yep.
Which is cool. That dog is... He's done. The dog is done.
That's right. All right. Let's clean this up a little bit.
Yeah.
I think the first two sentences are fine. Tapping into the ferrous nature of natural elements allows the slurry to manipulate them through magnetism. Okay, great. She may concentrate to manipulate inherent magnetic fields to increase or decrease their effect on ferrous substances. So we talked the ferrous nature of natural elements versus ferrous substances. I don't think there's a lot of restating there. I think it's okay. Items with ferrous metals comprising a majority of their composition can be affected. While a living creature could possibly be affected, the average Zen could not be. There's a lot of affected.
There's a lot of affectedness. It's
Could
an
not be-
affected paragraph.
Could not be troubled.
Yeah.
Troubled beyond gaining a headache or feeling dizzy, as their blood does not. There we go. As their blood does not have enough ferrous material to count.
Should it be ferrous material and no S?
Yep. Bending an iron sword with the.
Sword.
I like this. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So it also grants the slurry the ability to create a magnetic field that protects her from metallic objects. The field reduces damage, and that does not need
No.
the thing. From metallic objects.
It could just be halves damage from metallic objects.
Yeah.
Although, if somebody swings a sword at you, do you half the damage?
Is it metal?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's how it works as
I never
written.
even thought about it. I was thinking in terms of like arrows and shit. But
Yeah.
like, that's badass. Especially when you have the armor one.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got like the medium armor because of your magnetism. You got just half damage because of magnetism. That's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So this field,
These tracts of land.
oh, I can't type.
Metallic sources. From inbound.
Well, I mean, it's not going to affect your attacks.
No, you're right.
So,
Although that would suck.
yeah, this field halves damage from inbound attacks made with, sure. There we go. This field halves damage from inbound attacks made with ferrous weapons or projectiles. There we go. We did it. There we go, Megan. Thank you. All right. We are hauling some ass through this. We are on Aegisian Fields. It gives you the trait Fields. Lay people and provincials tend to make the mistake of thinking that Aegisian Fields is telekinesis. In fact, a slurry expands her power over magnetism and is able to affect non-ferrous materials. Thank you. The area which she can affect remains quite small, however. Or the area which she can affect remains quite small, however she may use fields to move objects away or draw them to herself. We don't need that. There we go. Let's try this. Provincials tend to make the mistake of thinking that Aegisian Fields is telekinesis. In fact, the slurry expands her power over magnetism and is able to affect non-ferrous materials and may use fields to move objects away or draw them to herself. There we go. She may hurl objects or even other opponents, or hold them still. A foe resisted the effect using mind. Mind?
I don't think you necessarily need to have that, but I think it's old.
Well, I think it's a question of, this is all about physical forces, so I don't know that mind would factor in so much.
Neither do I. I think that what we're going to be running into more and more is ways that we were previously, or that I was previously trying to balance things that don't necessarily work anymore. I don't think we even need to say. Or maybe it was that idea of like, the magic works, like, yes, it's all about the physical, but like, maybe there's something else to it, and you have to like, willpower style move them. I don't know. I don't think we need to mention it.
Read that out loud and see what you think.
Oh, my mouth's full.
Provincials tend to make the mistake of thinking Aegisian Fields is telekinesis. In point of fact, it needs to be longer there. In point of fact, a slurry expands her power over magnetism to include non-ferrous materials and may use fields to move objects away or draw them to herself. She may hurl objects or even other opponents. or hold them still. Powerful slurries have been known to levitate, if not slowly fly, using this new mastery over ferromagnetism and manipulating diamagnetism and paramagnetism.
There we go.
So, yeah, you threw down some
I threw
terminology.
down some words.
I'm going to do this.
That paramagnetism. Well, and I think what it was is I was looking up Wikipedia, and I'm sure, because this is like a year or two ago, and I think I was like, can a magnetic field manipulate non-ferrous material? And the answer is yes. That's it. Because I wanted, yes, it's high fantasy, but I also wanted it to kind of make sense if I'm going to use the words magnetism.
So we don't need this.
She can hurl herself.
So
I think the reason that I had that there was to say you can draw them close to yourself or not, but it can also be a dynamic motion. As in you can hurl something.
I'm going to add that.
Cool.
It was too much of a restatement. I want to make it something wholly separate.
Do your thing, man.
So in point of fact, a slurry expands her power over magnetism to include non-ferrous materials and may use fields to move objects away, draw them to herself, or hold them in place. Or hold them still. We'll do that. Hold them still.
Sorry, I'm playing with the dog. We have the Dougal in here, also known as the dog, and he's hanging out with us. That's the guy groaning over there. What's wrong with you? Eat it. Eat it. Come here. Come here. This is Floki. Hi, Floki. He's like 50 pounds of dog. Yeah. I have to take him out really quick.
Okay.
Continue. Go on without me.
Alrighty. Let's see what you all had to say. Okay. Soul of the Earth. Gravity. A maw of this power may also concentrate to intensify or abate gravity. Reaching this mastery is rare, even within the colleges, as the knowledge is highly guarded and must be taught. Those that do achieve the soul of Earth are known as archons. Affecting gravity requires the utmost concentration and may even cause an archon damage if prolonged. Prolonged. I don't like that. The strain of doing so may even cause an archon damage if done over an extended period, but it has to be a distinct episode, a continuous period of time. know, Megan. That is. Which ones do you think we need to include in that description? You know, if it's to use the provincial term, what forms of magnetism do we need to include to essentially do telekinesis? That is the question. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to leave it for now. The natural world is not blemished and will always return to its normal state once enough time has passed, unlike with unnatural magicka. It does freak out when gravity is changed. The natural world is not blemished by this technique and will always return to its normal state once enough time has passed, unlike with natural magicka. It does freak out when gravity is changed. Birds cease their chirping, animals shed their fur and might run away, plants stop growing. The weather might still like it would before a storm. Calm like it would before a storm. Dangerous aside, gravity affects nearly everything. An Archon would need many successes to reverse gravity. A minimum difficulty of 6. Let's do threshold 6. If successful, the effect causes the foe to fall far enough up to deal him an additional d4 points of damage. One d4 points of damage on his descent. This is assuming he does not hold on to something to avoid slamming. Hold on to something to avoid slamming into something else. To avoid the harsh impact. The Archon persists the effect as to crush or to increase her foe's falling damage. The Archon runs the risk of injuring herself through a backlash of repulsive energy. the energy isn't repulsive, it repulses. We'll do repulsing energy. D4 damage for every round maintained after the first. I am not used to this Mac keyboard.
The dog likes celery. It's awesome. Alright, where are we?
Reading Gravity. And I am here. Archons gain such power at a cost. Their physical bodies and even their voices begin to take on seemingly unnatural traits. Archons have been known to exhibit the following: free-floating hair, seeming to glide rather than walk. Items float nearby or potentially float off if not paid attention to.
That's pretty awesome.
Haunting or overly resonant voices. All right, read that and tell me what you think, because I tried to fix it. I asked Megan which forms of magnetism would constitute telekinesis, because she went hard in the paint on this.
Deep dive.
Yeah. Diamagnetism arises from orbiting electrons. Paramagnetism is electron spin of unpaired electrons. Unlike parallel.
All right. I read. Above this power, the soul of the earth, or the soul of earth. A maul of this power may also concentrate to intensify or abate gravity. Reaching this mastery is rare even within the colleges, as the knowledge is highly guarded and must be taught. Those that do achieve the soul of earth are known as archons. Just as an aside, in Numenera you can play several different kind of characters and such, and one of them, I forget what it's called. It's not the class. But it's the little backgrounds or whatever that you pick.
It's a blank who blanks.
Yeah, that's how you build a character in Numenera. A blank who blanks. And I always liked the one that was about gravity. And as you level up, you got really cool things like this.
Yeah, so it would be a blank who controls gravity. Yeah.
You don't get any more celery? I'm eating the celery. All right. Let me eat the celery really quick.
Yep. Do you think?
Okay. Message restricted. Retract. Oh, message retracted. I like restricted. All right. Affecting gravity requires the utmost concentration, and the strain of doing so may even cause an archon damage if prolonged. The natural world is not blemished by this technique and will always return to its normal state once enough time has passed, unlike with unnatural magicka. However, it does freak out when gravity is changed. Birds cease their chirping, animals shed their fur and might run away, plants stop growing, plants stop their growing, and the weather might calm like it would before a storm. Dangers aside, gravity affects nearly everything. Should we say the natural world or just the natural realm? The natural elm.
There you
go. An archon.
We don't need this word if you're capitalizing it.
An archon would need many successes to reverse gravity. A minimum threshold 6. I don't know if we even need to say that, but I think that was a hope. I'm not saying we don't. We shouldn't have it. I'm saying I wonder if we need it.
I thought the same thing. I cleaned up the format to make it cleaner. And added the brackets, but I'm not sold on it needing to be there. I think.
Go on.
I think it just being, listen, this is hard. you know?
Mm.
And because if you put minimum threshold 6, that might not be hard for the mage you've got in the game,
Right.
you know? The issue is that whatever scale of power whatever precedent you set for power level in your campaign is how you should determine your DC. It should be determined relative, or your success, your difficulty threshold. It should be relative to those things. That's how you set those in DreadLore. At least in a lot of ways, that's how you set it.
The question here is, or the fear or concern was that and so you guys know, since we were just talking about dice and successes, getting 2 or 3 successes is not necessarily difficult, but if you're playing a tier 1 or tier 2 character, that's you're punching at your weight if you're getting 2 and 3 successes.
If you're getting 3 successes at tier 1, you're doing really well.
Yeah. For advanced characters, you've played 3, 4, 5 games. Moderate difficulty would be anywhere from 3 successes, threshold 3 to threshold 5, and then something's pretty difficult if you're getting to 5, 6, and anything above that, you're really starting to tap most of your resources to get it. More epic characters like tier 3 and 4 who've been playing a while, threshold 6 is not as harrowing, but it's still, you've got to be tapping your resources to do it.
Yeah.
So the whole reason for this is saying, hey, look, minimum threshold is 6. The moment that a player realizes what that means, it's like, oh, it's really hard mechanically to even do it. I don't know if it needs to be there. At the same time, many successes.
I mean,
once you get 3 or 4, should you be able to reverse gravity?
Yeah. So threshold 6 means that you need to roll really well on 3 dice. And that means that you're spending equipment or something to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're probably doing 4 because your chaos die is not a d8. So you're looking at chaos dice plus 3 of your dice. So you're investing an expertise trait, more than likely, or some sort of equipment trait.
And your character trait for an extra success.
If you need it. So you're giving a powerful equipment trait or a high level of training in this field of magicka or circle of magicka and using an expertise trait to do this. You're probably bidding a second character trait for the free success.
I say we get rid of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Just by you saying that, I like your explanation of let the arbiter feel this out.
Yeah. Like, if it is a madcap game where everybody's doing really over the top stuff, because that's what you and your playgroup want to do, then maybe 6 is too high or too low or whatever. But yeah, that's something for your playgroup to feel out.
Okay.
I love the addition to affected. So we talked about it last week, but last Sunday, the scroll of the natural gives you an affinity called affected that sort of changes your physical body, the makeup of your physical body, and it's really cool. This discovery basically adds to that.
Yeah.
In really interesting ways. But
Okay.
that's the circle. You have to finish reading it, don't you?
In Archon, and if you grab that, you should look at that, because that's from Days of Yore. An Archon would need many successes to reverse gravity. If successful, the effect causes a foe to fall far enough up to deal him an additional 1d4 points of damage on his descent, assuming he does not levitate or hold on to something to avoid the harsh impact. If the Archon persists, the effect as to crush or to increase her foe's falling damage. The Archon runs the risk of injuring herself through a backlash of repulsing energy. You're going to be repulsive energy?
You had repulsive energy, but it sounded like the energy itself was
Okay.
gross.
Oh, I see. 1 die 4 damage for every round maintained after the first. Archons gain such power at a cost. Their physical bodies and even their voices begin to take on seemingly unnatural traits. Archons have been known to exhibit the following. Yeah, I think it's good.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, that's the circle.
Circle. Boom. Circle down. Look, you want out. What is your problem?
He wants out.
You don't get out.
You
He's like,
don't
no.
Get out.
Let me out. Let me out.
You don't
Is
get
it?
out.
Circle of Biomancy. All right, we actually, I don't want to jinx us, but we're actually moving pretty well.
Yeah.
Although the scroll of the natural and even the scroll of the unnatural, I think will be pretty easy. I think the Bright Magicka. Whoo, that's the one that's going to hurt.
Words are going to hurt.
Oh,
Weaving is easy.
All right, let's do Circle of Biomancy.
The circle of biomancy is the study of exchanging and manipulating vital energies, moving them from one place to another. Vital energies are known by several names depending on with whom you are speaking.
Ethos, essence, life, vitality,
And-
and the list goes on.
Indeed. Life mages, known colloquially as surgeons, or healers and blights, or necromancers, are among the most misunderstood mages who walk Craster. Some surgeons aid anyone they find in need. They wander battlefields like hospitalers. No, that's not what hospitalers did. I don't know. God, I need to
What
look
did
that
the
up.
Hospitaller do?
I gotta look that up. It was a
Like plague doctors.
they were an order of I guess they were knights.
Were they Teutonic Knights?
They were in the Crusades. I have to look it up. I don't know what made me think
this-
about it. It's like
this-
hospital.
This or and shouldn't they be?
Yeah, that needs to be
and
fixed.
or?
I'm
Okay.
surgeons and
Oh
healers.
no. Okay, good. I thought we crashed again. I was like, no. Damn
Yeah,
you.
that is better.
Okay.
I was letting shit ride for a little
Yep.
bit. I thought of surgeons or like biomancers wandering around battlefields afterward, and it made me think of hospitalers. But I think it's just because it has the word hospital in it, and I can't actually. I don't remember enough about the order.
And Megan,
talk
what's a
about it.
Hospitaller?
Yeah, or Daniel, if you're still on there, you probably know.
All right, folks, you can go home.
So they wander the battlefields helping the wounded, or they post up in settlements and make a name for themselves as healers. Others use their understanding of ethos to create undead slaves, or worse, feed off those unfortunate enough to cross their paths. Let's get in here. Okay. Ferromagnetism, blah, 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 blah. Anti-ferromagnetism, dipole moments. Energy. Huh. Interesting.
What is it?
I was just still reading, catching up on her explanation of magnetism. You know, it's a lot. But she hasn't commented on hospitalers. I'm tempted to look it up. I have.
Well, it'll slow down our stream big time.
Yeah. I have read this.
Those are incredibly limiting. So I'm eating so much. I haven't eaten. Okay.
Yeah, everything's fine. Here you go, 1A. I'm gonna look that shit up.
Okay. Bang. Nice. Caress del Titania. So this is referencing Midsummer Night's Dream, I believe. Calming and soothing are the traits you gain. Actually, it should be calming, comma, soothing, because they're two different traits.
Yeah.
A surgeon begins her study learning how to awaken endorphins in her body. Boom. Calming her emotions or soothing pain. Oh no, it is calming and soothing. But you're getting two different traits.
You're getting two different things. Yeah.
Doing so occurs over a short period of time, not unlike an orgasm. A minimum of 1 round. And requires her to concentrate, as usual. We love that concentration. She may relay some of her tranquility to another's end by maintaining physical, skin-to-skin contact, point-blank distance, with her patient.
That's a lot.
It is.
Oh my god.
She may raise or lower the intensity of emotions and feelings, but may not cause physical damage. Cause or remove physical damage, actually.
Or heal.
Or heal. Really, it's not just physical, just damage in general. Because
Well,
you can't
trauma.
you can't heal sanity damage either. Is the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole distance thing needs to be.
Oh, that's pretty heinous. By maintaining physical contact.
How about just skin to skin? Because the limitation this is putting is you cannot do it past point blank.
So this is saying no matter how powerful you get, you have to touch them.
Nope, it's the Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm not saying I agree with it. That is just what it's trying to say.
I don't think we need that.
I agree.
I think realistically, it's just like any other spell casting. You have to touch them until you get good enough. Spend your successes.
Point blank distance.
I know.
No, it's a good word.
Yeah.
That point blank distance. She may relay some of her tranquility. So this is a common question that we have, or that we talk about, especially in Magicka, is the idea of distance. And, there's definitely a theme for, like the Obi-Wan Kenobi when he, puts his hand on Luke and heals him, or brings him out of his sort of trance, he heals him, because the guy's knocked out, right? You know what I'm talking about in Star Wars?
Mm.
In Star Wars, the one with Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I'm talking about? The scene?
Which scene is it?
It's the scene where, Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's a scene where Luke is going after R2-D2, but he gets attacked by the Sand People, and Obi-Wan Kenobi comes and scares them off, but Luke, he gets scared by one who does the yell, and he falls back and hits his head and goes unconscious.
Yeah.
So Obi-Wan comes over, puts his hand on him, and heals him.
Right.
It's not evident. It's inferred that he heals him. And so there's a theme of this. Could Obi-Wan could he have done it from afar? Technically, yeah, he's powerful enough, but he didn't. He touched him. And so I think that's the other thing with this being a 1A. Again, trying to, without range increments, and then before that, it's saying, okay, well, this is a 1A because you have to touch them. Right?
Yeah.
But if we get away from that, it does remove a little bit of the theme.
Well, so here's the catch with that. I would argue it doesn't.
Okay.
Because, and that's it just doesn't. Nope.
Nope. Into it.
Yeah. Here's why it doesn't. Obi-Wan may have very well have been able to. One, we're dealing with two different systems of magic, really. But setting that aside for now, he could have maybe he could have healed Luke from afar, but that it's a greater tax on your resources to do that. It is much simpler to go to the person and touch them. Also, moreover, if you're caring for someone like that kind of intimacy makes someone feel better. Assuming they don't have some sort of trauma where that would trigger them, obviously setting that aside. But yeah, I mean, physical closeness like a hug or, a hand on the forehead, a reassuring hand on the shoulder, that kind of thing can promote sort of soothing or calming, to use the traits. So I think maybe it's more of just maximum efficacy with minimal effort. And I'd say that Obi-Wan would definitely use that approach.
You have convinced me. Helveti's Call. Usher and Wilting. So these are, again, two different traits you get. Okay. The path of the cow lies on the edge of a knife. Lies on the edge of a knife. Surgeons have been known to usher on those on the precipice of death, letting them die peacefully. This power inflicts one wound onto the patient. One wound. Wounds are bracketed, yes?
Yeah.
Any successes the surgeon rolls are applied against the patient resisting Helveti's Call. The surgeon absorbs her patient's last bit of ethos, which does not heal, but in fact, it inflicts a 1d4 of physical damage onto the surgeon. This damage can be absorbed using plot armor, or by transferring it onto another living creature. You necromancer. Performing Helveti's Call always requires concentration and at least 2 actions, which I'm assuming we were saying 2 major actions. And I don't know if we should really have that requirement. Some surgeons attempt to release the bit of damaging ethos gained from their patient immediately into the environment. Releasing ethos causes a wilting effect on the environment, which surgeons rationalize, saying that it is penance for rushing the cow's work. Attempting to do this requires successes equal to the patient's resistance successes. Also, we probably don't need that in there. So we're going to clean up some stuff, and the requirement of 2 actions maybe isn't needed. And the idea of saying, okay, here's what you have to be able to, your successes have to equal this. Instead, maybe it's just cool to say you do it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know why I was trying to hem it.
Because rank 1. And this is before the creation of manipulation.
Right.
So your degree of control and limits on what you can do
had to do with successes.
Are all over in manipulation now rather than in the discoveries.
Right.
They've been split. They've been divorced.
Divorced.
So I looked up the Hospitallers.
Yeah, what are the Hospitallers?
They were founded in 1099.
1099. After.
But they. So
1066.
they started off as a religious order of essentially healthcare workers. They healed the sick. Of course, it's 1099, so. But
he needs to be healed. He's in pain.
And they were religious to boot, so who knows?
Go with God.
Yeah, but then the Crusades happened, and they became a holy order of knights. They were one of the 2 biggest, the other being the Knights Templar.
Oh wow.
Have you ever seen Kingdom of Heaven?
I have.
Okay. I'm going to forget his name. The guy in the brown surcoat with the white cross.
No, I don't. But was he a Hospitaller?
He was a Hospitaller.
Okay.
His dudes were Hospitallers. They look like Knights Templar, but they're in brown, almost black surcoats with white crosses instead of white surcoats with red crosses.
And these are different than, what are they called?
Knights Templar?
No. Templar Sergeants or something.
Yeah, not the same.
Yeah.
Eventually, they went to a different uniform, but... All right. Yeah, they did heal people. That's how they started off.
So Hospitallers could technically work.
Yeah.
All right. The path of the cow lies on the edge of a knife.
Surgeons have been known to usher on those on the precipice of death, letting them die peacefully. This power inflicts one wound onto the patient. Any successes the surgeon rolls are applied against the patient, resisting Helveti's call.
If they resist Helveti's call.
Wait. Let's do this.
Oh yeah, the accent.
Helveti's call.
Helveti's call.
Helveti. Let's see. I mean, yes, that's how Magica works. We can get rid of that, just like you said.
Well, this has a little bit of a flare aspect, but you're right. You're right. Because
Also,
it's a use case that may or may not come up, and if it does, the answer is pretty obvious.
yeah.
Okay, sure.
What are you trying to get out of that?
The idea is that some people don't want to go.
Yeah. I think instead of saying this does a wound, if someone is on death's door, this is the tolling of the bell, the last rites. It's like assisted suicide.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's like assisted suicide. It doesn't need to be about damage. This is a willing subject is killed. And if they're unwilling, then there's an opposed roll, and they take a wound.
Well, the other idea is that it could be used, to deal damage. It's that kind of damage that, at this point, it wasn't just a point of damage. It was no. It deals a wound.
Yeah.
It probably shouldn't, but
yeah,
that's pretty heinous. Though the thing is, we say that you can absorb it, so it really just shouldn't be a wound.
The surgeon absorbs her patient's last bit of ethos, which does not heal, but in fact it inflicts damage onto the surgeon. This damage can be absorbed using plot armor by transferring it into another living creature. Always requires...
So the idea of it dealing damage is there so that if a person's like, okay, I'm going to use Helveti's Call and jack that guy up, it's like, well, you can't. You're only ever dealing the damage. And the reason that it kills them is they're on death's door. Yeah. Right? So you can use it from across the room, but you can't be like, okay, I rolled like 18 successes, 18 damage, because that's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's explicit in how much it deals.
And this is another thing where really, why would you use it from across the room? Like, this is giving...
Go on.
Like, I get it that you could, but if you're doing this, you're giving them their last rites.
Or you're a necromancer, and you're at a big feast, or at, like, a party, and you're like, I need some ethos. And in your little soul jar, and you're like, and great, okay, boop, got my healing potion.
But once you get that, by the time you're doing it on that scale, you have other discoveries that allow you to not kill yourself in the process.
Well, you don't have to kill yourself. You could put it onto another creature, or you could
let
release
it
into the world.
Yeah, but that's my point, is that this...
I'll fuck up your party. Boo, 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 boo.
Yeah. Have all this, release it out of the earth. I don't fuck your house here. I'm gonna put the stank inside it. What's this box of puppies for?
Oh, no.
I'm here to ruin your home. No, to me, this is ceremonial.
Sure.
Whether they're willing or not, there's a certain, like I said before, an intimacy of, helping someone along or murdering them while they're screaming for you not to do it. But you're there with them at their side and releasing the hate out into the world around you, so that accepting it into yourself and taking that damage. But it is a limited case, and I think that even once you were more powerful, if you were doing this, you would still do it up close. Going back to the Obi-Wan example, I don't think that limit needs to be written into the power, but to me, this is a ritual. And other things are, I want to fuck that person up over there and suck all their juju out. I want their ethos. Like, you just take it and use one of the better...
All right, so how would you change it?
All right. I'd say that it inflicts 1 damage.
Instead of 1 wound.
So this ritual...
His ritual.
His ritual. Deals 1
damage.
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 Deals 1 damage to the target. Killing them.
Sure. Here's a question for people watching. To say this ritual deals 1 damage to the target, killing them. Is that clear with the first sentence? Is it clear our meaning here? Okay, I'm gonna read it real quick, unless you have a change for it.
I'm just not happy with it yet.
Okay.
The path to the cow lies on the edge of a knife.
Louder.
You read it.
Oh, I'm gonna read it.
Yeah.
The path to the cow lies on the edge of a knife. Surgeons have been known to usher on those on the precipice of death, letting them die peacefully. This ritual deals 1 damage to the target, killing them. Is that clear that you can't just kill a healthy person? Because right before it says on the precipice of death. So there's the assumption, right? Do we need to be explicit about that or not? I don't know. The surgeon absorbs her patient's last, assuming they are actually very near death. Yeah. The surgeon absorbs her patient's last bit of ethos, which does not heal her, but in fact, it inflicts 1d4 damage onto her. Which does not heal, but in fact, deals... Yeah, you just need to clean that up. There's too many commas and shit.
We haven't introduced the idea that ethos...
Right, so we don't need to... Right.
Yeah.
This inflicts 1d4 of physical damage onto the surgeon. Okay. This damage can be absorbed using plot armor or by transferring it onto another living creature. Performing Helveti's Call always requires concentration and at least 2 actions.
You don't need that.
No. I know, or by transferring it onto. For some reason, I don't want to say onto. Does it need to be onto?
Into.
Yeah, how about into?
I don't think you can. So
into another creature.
Because that comes later. There are other discoveries that let you transfer damage and actually cause damage to them and heal yourself in the same action.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff comes later in this circle. So I say, 1, absorbing it by plot armor, that's the default. The only time that you mention what you can do with damage is when it breaks the mold.
Okay.
So no transferring it someone else, and absorbing it by plot armor is normal.
That does simplify it.
So
Some surgeons attempt
So
to
we
release
can
it.
even say this damage. We could do this. Can be mitigated as normal, but some surgeons are dicks.
Releasing ethos causes a wilting effect on the environment,
They
which
prefer
they rationalize,
some
saying that it is penance for rushing the cow's work. Attempting to do this requires success is equal to the patient's resistance. We need to get rid of that lesson.
They don't release a bit of it. They release all of it.
All of it.
So assuming they're very near death. Okay, that's fine. The surgeon absorbs her patient's last bit of ethos. I can clean that. I'm gonna take this whole penance thing and move it up top, because releasing it into the atmosphere is, or releasing it into the world is not the penance. That's them being cunts. This is the penance is the damage that they're inflicting, and it's a question of, are you virtuous or not, or are you a masochist or not? It may have nothing to do with virtue, but for whatever reason, are you internalizing it, or are you releasing it? So.
Well, I was thinking, the reason I was saying the penance on the environment is saying everyone has to pay for this death because we're rushing the cow, so we all have to pay for it. The environment has to pay for it. That's what I meant.
Well,
your way is perfectly fine, too.
Yeah. Well, I think that's maintained, but it's, so you get into that gray area of whose decision was it? Was it everyone's? Was it the
Right.
patient's? Was it the surgeon's? Right?
I dig what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
So
the damage being the penance, and then with flavor and how you want to, how the player wants to say what it is, they can do that.
it is said that the surgeon must pay penance. Wait.
A penance? Or the penance for what? Yeah. What's your problem, dog? I have to go pet the dog. He's getting all
It is
weird.
said that must be paid penance. All right. It is said that a penance must be paid for rushing the cow's work. And surgeon takes 1d4 physical damage from absorbing her patient's last bit of ethos. This damage can be mitigated as normal, but some surgeons prefer to release the damaging ethos gained from their patient immediately into the environment, releasing this ethos causes a wilting effect on In so doing, the surgeon avoids taking the damage, but the ethos causes a wilting effect on the environment instead.
And then the last sentence, I don't think we need.
No. I think it's just a choice. There you go.
All right,
Now
the
try
path
it
of
on
the
for
cow
size.
lies on the edge of a knife. Surgeons have been known to usher on those on the precipice of death, letting them die peacefully. This ritual deals 1 damage to the target, killing them, assuming they are actually very near death. It is said that a penance must be paid for rushing the cow's work, and the surgeon takes 1 die 4 damage, physical damage from absorbing her patient's last
Does it
bit
need
of
to be
ethos.
physical?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. 'Cause technically it's not.
Right. This damage can be mitigated as normal, but some surgeons prefer to release the damaging ethos gained from their patient immediately into the environment. Prefer to immediately release.
I was about to suggest that.
In so doing, the surgeon avoids taking the damage, but the ethos causes a wilting effect on the environment instead. Well done. Guys, I've said so much now, you need to look back. Indeed. Sorry. That is our bad. We did just look. We were just in the middle of like heavy restructuring.
Yeah. The Hospitallers arose in the early 11th century during the time of the Cluniac
Sorry,
movement as a group of individuals associated with
Amalfiton Hospital. An Amalfiton Hospital.
Yeah, they came from Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. I can only switch tracks so quickly. They were dedicated to John the Baptist. Really? And founded around 1099 by Gerard Tom to provide care for sick, poor, and injured pilgrims coming to the Holy Land. 1099 is after 1066, so it's all England after Edward, I think. Anyway, William the Conqueror. After that, deep science to history.
1066 was the Battle of Hastings, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the. I want to say it's when I think his name was Edward. It's when William the Conqueror came up and fucked them all up. And it's the end of the Viking era, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Finish one. Geek out. I have to use bracket finally.
You have used bracket on Kevorkian. There you go.
You've
That's the word I
used
was looking
bracket on wins before. Okay. Mercy killing, if you will. Kevorkian. Euthanasia being a strong proponent. Okay. Maybe say that persons who are at a lethal level of wounds ease their passing. Sorry. It would be a sadist if they were inflicting it. Masochists enjoy receiving pain. Guys have said so much now. 1066, when the Normans conquered Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Norman.
Yeah, the Normans fought the Danes. Basically, they fought over the death of a king that didn't really name an heir, and one of the nobles. It was essentially the Normans.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was. Fuck! It may have been the English throne, and I'm so
I
bad.
think it was so Edward. I can't remember.
Yeah, but basically the king died, and the Norman king just happened to be in the room. So he was like, "Well, it's mine now." And the Danes had a problem with that, and then the Normans killed them all. So yeah, that's why I was saying, Megan, you'd be a masochist if you enjoyed taking on that damaging ethos.
So,
but I think we're all caught up and we're good. Thank you so much for that.
alchemical song, internal alchemy.
So we need to change the accent mark over the U because it's a bar.
Oh, it's a bar.
Yeah, and it's pronounced sung.
I don't know how to make a bar over as an accent.
I just Google it and copy paste.
All right, we can do that later. We don't need to do that right now. Add you with bar.
I don't remember what it's called.
vowel.
It
Okay.
makes an sound. Sun.
You know, we could actually do that one. Because that's an oo.
We could.
Sung. Alright. It is said that the wandering deity, Sung, initially taught his favorite surgeon, a lover of his, the mysteries of internal alchemy. Yeah, he did. The ability to sway one's own energies within herself in order to temporarily increase an ability at the expense of another ability.
I don't think you need that.
Doing so, the surgeon is able to reduce one of her aspects by one step, so she may boost another aspect by one step. I know. The effect lasts for as long as she can concentrate.
Do you need to concentrate on this?
It lasts for as long as you concentrate.
Right. Do you really need to concentrate on this?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because there's no net gain here. You're swapping something, and it's your. I mean, maybe your body tries to go back to homeostasis, and that's why you have to concentrate.
I'd say that's why.
But there's, one could make an argument that you're changing the way your body works, and you have to move it back. Like, there very well could just be an argument for it doesn't matter because you could just cast this effect again, and
Fair enough.
like, of the things that you would need to concentrate on,
Yeah, sure. No, I dig it. I had not thought of that.
I'm okay with requiring it.
No, I
but
dig it.
I just
It's been dug.
cool.
Do we need to do this?
No.
Yeah. I feel like there was one other one. It said that the wandering deity sung. I'm gonna make it just this.
I don't
so we
like how
can-
there's so many paragraphs.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm making it this character.
Do the U so that way when we do a find and replace later, we
Okay.
can do it the easy way.
Okay. It said that the wandering deity sung initially taught his favorite surgeon. How about initially taught a lover of his who was a surgeon? Actually, I don't.
Actually,
mind.
we don't need favorite surgeon. They just initially taught a lover of his.
Okay. Taught a lover of his the mysteries of internal alchemy.
Awesome.
The ability to sway one's own energies within oneself in
Mhm.
order to temporarily increase.
Yeah, it's great.
In order to temporarily increase an ability at the expense of another. Doing so, the surgeon is able to reduce one of their, since we're
Do increase one ability at the expense of another.
reduce one.
Here. Nope.
Oh,
Right there. Cool. I think it's
doing so, the surgeon is able to reduce one of her aspects by one step, so that she may boost another aspect by one step. Boom.
sweet. Let's talk about that too. Yeah. Pound of flesh.
Transfusion. Wait. Kevorkian called the Mercitron Mercy Machine.
A
Kevorkian called the device Thanatron Death Machine. Other people were assisted by a device which employed a gas mask fed by a canister of carbon monoxide, which Kevorkian called the Mercitron. Man, that's dark and awesome. We might. Whoa. How real do we want to do it? Mercitron. You get to look it up. I dig it. Well, I'm going to make a little note. Helvetti's Call. Although I do like Helvetti's Call.
Yeah.
Mercitron. Whew, we'll put that in there right there.
Okay.
Pounds of flesh transfusion.
A surgeon eventually learns how to transfer their ethos from herself.
Her.
I can't click the word. Her ethos from. I was like clicking and nothing is. I'm clicking in the wrong spot. From herself into another, and vice versa. Performing transfusion requires concentration as well as sacrifice. The surgeon must take on the damage of her patient, but has the control to spread it out as she sees fit. Likewise, a surgeon can inflict damage she has taken onto her foe. Doing so runs the surgeon the risk of truly gaining the moniker of necromancer. Only if there are witnesses. Die!
Doing so in front of witnesses runs the risk of her truly gaining the moniker. Oh, or of her gaining the moniker.
I was going to say, yeah.
We don't need truly.
I think it's because people call them necromancers anyway.
Yeah.
So there was something about this.
Yeah.
One, it's a single action.
You're a single action.
Are you saying that you can continue to pump out ethos
Yeah.
without casting the effect again?
Boop, 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 boop. Well, technically, though, you're bidding every time you hit concentration.
Yeah, but you don't have to, like,
Boop, 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 boop,
throw
boop, boop.
down again.
Yeah, you do.
So-
I would make them throw it on every turn
So
and bid to do it.
so it is really like walking up to them and, like, hooking up a fire hose to them,
Boop, boop,
And
boop,
just-
boop.
or like a straw, and just...
Yeah, a surgeon eventually learns how to transfer her ethos from one her cells into another and vice versa, performing transfusion. So she's actually transferring herself, her shit, into that.
You take
Maybe
their shit.
maybe it doesn't need concentration.
You're giving away your ethos or taking their ethos.
So is it just, if it's just one action and then it's boom, gone, or can you make a connection and then be like, ha 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 ha, 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 or here you go?
Yeah, that is the question. I think that it is.
The benefit of the concentration is you don't have chaos die after it.
I know. I'm wondering if it's too powerful. You probably never thought you'd hear those words from me, but that's my concern. Is that there's going to be some player or some
Just a murder hobo.
some player or even some adversary that is immediately like the aftermath, like, oh, I really underestimated their ability, right? It's so requiring touch, that's the default, and then as you get more manipulation and you are able to achieve more successes on your casting roll, then on your actually the action roll to use the magicka, you can allocate some of those successes on increasing the range, and that's how that works.
Yeah, you can pretty much
So-
pull a Legacy of Cain
Specifying
if you got enough successes.
yeah, specifying touch is, I mean, yeah, we could, but that's the stated default for all magicka. It starts there, you work your way up. You can.
She says, leave the necromancer alone.
They're only trying to raise a family. Oh no.
Oh, oh. Do.
So requiring, giving them the choice to use concentration from round to round, really is like, okay, so I've established
Alright.
the conduit, and
Sustained touch. Well, and that's you. Sustained touch would be the way that we're actually arguing about. The idea of concentration is that sustaining. So,
if you initiated it at range, it's sustained at range. That's the problem. Though we could make an exception, but I want to avoid that. Here's the issue. If you're doing this, if you're giving someone
the good.
your ethos, then you wouldn't need to throw down, and the concentration is a moot point.
Right.
If you're taking someone's ethos and healing yourself and crippling them, and you only have to make the roll once, and then you just do that uncontested from round to round.
That's like thinner.
That's
Yeah, that's pretty heinous.
That's heinous.
That's pretty heinous.
It needs to go away.
Because the idea is that when the necromancer comes up to you and is like, or just from across the room is like, boop, and starts sucking your ethos out of your body, you can contest that, but after that round, you kind of can't. Well, actually, you could, because the thing is, there would be a contested roll. So this way, once you make that connection, you put your straw in them and suck away. Yeah, okay. But let's say we take away requires concentration. Performing transfusion requires sacrifice. What sacrifice? The surgeon must take on the damage of her patient, but has the control to spread it out.
So
likewise,
go ahead. Go get through it.
Performing transfusion.
We can. So do you think it's okay? Because I guess theoretically, as the target of this ability, if a necromancer comes up and starts sucking out your ethos from across the room, they got their straw. Drainage, Eli, drainage.
I drank your milkshake.
Yeah. You from across the room reaches across. Anyway, you get to roll to resist it each round. Yeah?
Regardless of whether it causes or requires concentration.
And
so actually this way, and this was the spirit of it, because it requires concentration, it means that the necromancer or the healer is bleeding a trait every round.
which is still cheaper than doing transfusion, like actually rolling for transfusion every round.
But they're technically, if it's contested, they're doing that anyway, is my point. Right? Like, let's work it out. So, I'm a necromancer. You're a dude. You're like a farmer. I'm like, what's up? Or no, you're a cow. I don't know.
Well,
and I'm like...
So in my mind, really quickly before we do that,
okay.
You, as the necromancer, you roll once. The link is established.
If I roll at all. I may not have to roll.
Well, if I'm an unwilling target.
Sure.
So I'm going to resist this. So you are going to throw down.
Yep.
You throw down exactly once. You beat my reaction. I take damage, ergo you get my ethos.
Yep.
The next round, you drop a trait to maintain the concentration. And I resist again. You don't roll anything.
Nope.
That's my point. Throwing down is always more expensive than a single trait bid. Almost always more expensive than a single trait bid. Now, I don't have to bid anything to resist, but I'm probably not going to beat your initial roll without throwing in some extra dice somehow. Because you're probably going to get... You may get... you have a 50% chance of getting a success from your chaos die. And you have... you have the benefit of you probably throwing in, an expertise trait, like you die for that.
Well, we're assuming something here, and that's actually inherent in. That is the inherent problem of this, the way this is explained. We don't say if you have to continue to cast the what have you. Like, we're assuming, okay, well, it requires concentration, ergo, you do pounds of flesh, you cast it once, and then it continues for as long as you concentrate. But it doesn't actually say that, does it?
That's what concentration is. You're maintaining the effect of whatever you cast from round to round or over time without having to do the cast again.
Yeah.
And so
is it a one-off? Does it have a duration? That kind of thing?
So the issue there is that.
How do we want it to work? Let's put.
I just want to make sure that it's understood that you are. That it is an attack. It is attack magicka,
She's talking about sanity being a loss. That's not a bad idea. Concentration could eliminate the cast die value. Exactly. And that's what he was saying. Sanity's not a bad one, although this is technically natural magicka, and you start getting to the sanity loss with unnatural magicka.
Also, let's look at the way this would actually go down.
Yeah.
I'm a necromancer PC, and I roll poor to middling on my casting roll.
Yep.
But I still get like a point of damage off. The link is established, and now I'm concentrating. Well, I don't want to concentrate. I want to re-roll and get a greater effect and carry that over. So I do it again. Well, this time I get like 5 successes, and now on the third round, I'm just going to take 5 more damage until I stop concentrating.
You're bad.
That seems a little broken.
Okay, so we'll take out concentration. We need to change this stuff.
All right, so here's the 2 problems here. It talks about ethos and damage, but it does not equate the 2. And that is not it. Like up until this point, it's been, I think it may have been explicitly said, but I don't like how this floats between the 2. So, and I don't know what you think about it. Sorry, I just shift them so I can.
It's fine.
Mouse.
For example, what do you mean?
So, a surgeon eventually learns how to transfer her ethos from herself into another, and vice versa. They must take on the damage of her patient. Okay. So, those 2 things feel distinct, but they're the same.
Yeah, so she's
That's
not taking on the damage of her pain. Like, it's saying it backwards.
Yeah.
What it's saying
when
is...
you lose ethos, you take damage.
Right. She's saying it's saying she deals herself damage by transferring her ethos.
Yeah.
That's actually what it's saying. But it's taking it from, it's like saying it backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. The surgeon deals herself damage by donating her ethos.
Dog's pissed.
And it says, but has the control to spread it out as she sees fit. Well, you can always do that. That used to be unique to Biomancers in 1.7.
Truth.
But
And it was
now
awesome.
it was awesome.
Although yeah, you're right.
But now you can always do that. So like, I'm going to put a point into Braun and another point into Wits.
You can do that so long as it makes sense. This person can do it regardless if it doesn't, whether it makes sense or not.
Okay, fair.
So if the arbiter's like, this should be soul damage, like sanity, the surgeon could be like, okay, well, I'm going to take that sanity damage, convert it into physical.
Yeah.
Or into mental.
Yeah.
Because they have the power to get damaged how they want. All right. Is anyone talking real quick? That could be really broken. Remove concentration. Yep, agreed. All right. Are we good with that one?
I just want to make sure this is so. Likewise, the surgeon can inflict damage he has taken onto her foe.
Ain't no subject.
But has the control to. All right. If it had she. By donating her ethos.
All right, I'm gonna read it again. A surgeon eventually learns how to transfer her ethos from herself into another, and vice versa. The surgeon deals herself damage by donating her ethos, but has the control to spread it out as she sees fit. So that does need help, because it's like it doesn't finish the thought. Deals herself damage.
Well, it needs to say that it heals the patient.
By donating your ethos.
One second.
Okay.
A surgeon eventually learns how to transfer her ethos from herself into another,
Creature.
healing them.
Oh, okay. That works too.
And we don't need the and vice versa because it goes into that later.
Yep.
She deals herself damage by donating her ethos, but has the control to spread the damage. To allocate.
Mm. As she sees fit.
Across her aspects. I mean, that's how it works.
It's not not necessarily, because she could just take it as plot armor too. She can take it as plot armor, and she can take it across her aspects. She can take it as
Yeah, but that's, again, plot armor is the normal mitigation. So this is saying if you run out of plot armor, the special benefit is that you can spread it out however you want.
I can see that. I can also see someone being like, wait a minute, can I not use plot armor?
That's true. Yeah. I think honestly this needs to be said as part of the affinity.
Do it.
And not in
Yeah,
in a
okay,
thing.
cool. Yeah.
This deals herself damage equal to the amount healed. By donating her ethos.
Likewise, the surgeon can inflict damages she has taken onto her foe.
So does that mean this heals? So does she heal an equal amount? Hold on.
Likewise.
So this is like healing diseases. This is regeneration. This is.
That's reviving.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is the nasty.
Yeah. Likewise, the surgeon can inflict damage she has taken onto her foe. That doesn't make sense. That's
exactly
a little copy pasta.
Well, so likewise, a surgeon can steal someone else's ethos,
inflicting them damage. It's obvious that it inflicts them damage. Then.
Inflicting damage and healing herself by an equal
exchange
amount.
Okay.
Doing so in front of witnesses runs the foe of necromancer.
Okay. You want to add it to affinity right quick?
Yeah.
Just make sure that you mention healing them. You guys don't really say that.
Exactly.
Okay.
That was one of the. Well, I couldn't, like, there were a lot of things that I had issue with that this fixed.
There is no affinity.
There is no affinity. Well, there is now.
Well, now there is.
So
what's that affinity?
The affinity
it's
is
a sub thing.
I'm just gonna copy the formatting up here. Oh, I see.
Guys, whatchamacallit?
There's an affinity now. Guess what it is?
Boom.
This is gonna be called.
What is it when you can move, like you have control over your chemistry and internal alchemy?
Homeostasis.
Homeostasis?
That's when everything's in balance, which is, I mean, it could work. What would
Sure.
What would they call it? The balancing of the humors.
Ooh.
Could do something with that.
It could be humors.
It could just be humors.
You can balance your humors.
Yeah.
And that's the description.
Humors. Hummus.
Hummus.
Humors.
You British piece of...
I mean, when you're spelling it in the old medicines, you need the extra letters. Do you know why American English removed some of those extra vowels?
Because we thought it was stupid.
It was to save on printing costs.
Was it really?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think it.
And yet we added e's and shit to the ends of our words.
It's one of those things where it's like, oh man, they get paid by the letter. let's take some letters out of these words. Well, like A Tale of Two Cities.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it's so long was because they were getting paid by the letter.
Really?
Yeah, they made it obscenely verbose
I hated that book.
on purpose. Yeah, you should.
I didn't like it.
It is a.
I won't lie, I didn't even finish it.
It's not worth like I won't read it. I won't read it on principle because I look at it and I'm like, they didn't give a shit when they were writing this book. This was a money grab.
That's all.
This was someone who took the time to write to see what they could get away with writing something that was long for the sake of being long, which means that it was a point of disrespect for the publisher, and they didn't actually care about the story because they would have saved a good story that they cared about for something else.
And just imagine like the printers. They were like, all right, so Tale of Two Cities. Are you fucking kidding me? This is some bullshit.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Oh, it's full of truisms.
Homeostasis is the tendency toward a relatively stable equilibrium between interdependent elements, especially as maintained by physiological processes. Siphoning their breath to bolster their own. Well, we got to get away from the word breath, though, because it's a mechanic thing. But homeostasis does work. I think it should be in the description. Also, humors should be capitalized or block lettered.
I'm going to block your letters.
Humors.
We haven't called them biomancers.
No, we haven't.
Biomancers.
Biomancer.
Biomancers have a unique control over
The homeostasis.
the homeostasis of the bodies.
The bodies.
The bodies. They can
Allocate.
keep their humors.
Oh, yes. The humors.
Balance. Allocating
Damage across their aspects, sanity, etc., as they see fit. Ah, yes, the damage.
across her aspects.
There?
Yep.
As she sees fit. But who is she? They sees that fit. seize it.
Unmitigated damage. That
Mm.
solves that. How can you mitigate the damage? Well, all the various and sundry ways. As they see fit. Indeed. Normally.
Normal.
Normal why?
Normal why?
Normally,
Do we need to say normally?
no, I suppose not. Maybe because it doesn't feel like it matters.
Well, here's the thing. You're right. So
Like,
we need to give it a little bit of flavor text. The idea of so someone who can do this, what does that mean? It means that they are very aware of their bodies.
Yeah.
They're very aware of their mental states. So that idea of when it comes to mind control, or maybe it gives them an ability to resist, right? Or just know when they're sick, a resistance to sickness, they don't get tired easily because they know how to reallocate. They don't get frayed very easily.
I like that.
And that's pretty cool.
Know when they're getting
When they're
sick.
pregnant.
They know when they're getting pregnant. I think everyone knows when they're getting pregnant. They don't know if they're pregnant right away, but they know when they're getting pregnant. Or when they might
pun
be.
intended. You should take away that contraction.
Oh, indeed.
How about they know when they're getting sick? Or how about
Ooh,
They
she
have a
crit.
knowledge of how to put this. Okay, let's say it plainly, and then we can put it in there. They know when they're getting sick. They know they don't get sick very often. Like they can deal with mental and physical stress very well.
Or they just shift it around.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we wouldn't even say they're very balanced people, or they have very balanced. Well, it says they keep the humans in balance, allocating automated damage.
So know where they're getting sick and have unique tolerance, so they have unique control of the homeostasis of their bodies, and know when they're getting sick, and have more physical and mental endurance than others.
That will work for now, because once we get something, then we can mess around with it.
It's plain language and it's not too verbose.
Right.
And have a greater mental hell. How about this? Without needing to justify it to the arbiter.
There you go.
As,
just put it on the nose.
As normal.
There we go. Boom. They know when they're getting sick. Everyone kind of knows when they're getting sick, though.
But this is like, I smell a storm coming. You know? And in like 5 hours it storms. It's like that. Like when people are, when they aware, they've got their ear to the ground for certain shit. And this person's like, my reaction time was like 0.3 seconds off what it normally is. I think I'm getting sick.
Regulation of the stability and constancy needed to function properly. Regulation of the stability and constancy.
And
It's
really,
interesting.
it's not anything more than balancing things, right? So it's like you're shifting resources around and like juggling.
Why don't we say that? Biomancers have a unique control over the homeostasis of their bodies. They would say it's simply a question of balance. Or maybe we don't even need that.
Shifting resources to where they're shifting bodily resources or vital energies to where they're needed most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Consciously.
Yeah.
Consciously shifting their vital energy.
Okay. Most toast. Their vital energies where they are needed most. They know when they're getting sick and have a greater physical and mental endurance than most. I think it's okay.
Than others, than lay zens.
Than others. Okay. All right. Let's pop down here because we're getting close to time here.
Kind of out of time, but we're gonna keep going.
Let's do Lumina's Grace.
Yeah.
Lumina's Grace, revive.
It is said that ethos is eternal despite mortality.
It said that. That is said.
Yeah. A surgeon who can revive mortals who have fallen at the cow's feet has achieved one of the pinnacles of medicine. I'd say so. Provincials believe that the cowl and the goddess Lumina are at odds, and as such, they tend to agree that one saved from such a fate is blessed by Lumina's grace. As such, surgeons who specialize in Lumina's grace tend to also praise the goddess. This ability requires concentration and a dirge-like incantation, but is otherwise quick to act. The ability is quick to act. Quick to perform? Act out? Reviving a fallen Zen after she has slipped away, whether being dead or lost, must occur quickly. Within the same encounter, or a handful of hours. The surgeon must spend 1 point of breath to exact the toll, though not necessarily her own. Okay, so the mechanics can be rephrased, but this is great. Do you like it?
Yep.
Okay. So,
Question, do we want to rephrase this later? Make a comment, pop down through these, just comment out what we want to rephrase,
yeah.
and then we can be done.
Is this if it's fast?
Well, and that's something that needs to be explained. I'm thinking the actual incantation is not fast. When they are revived, it's fast.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
I
it's
think.
it's like it. Well, maybe it's just you have to be quick to do it.
Yeah.
There's a strict time limit here, but it's the Conan ritual.
It's the Conan ritual.
Conan ritual. Rephrase. Fuck.
Ah, Kona.
Rephrase.
Kona coffee's the best.
Jamaican Blue Mountain, please.
Fuck everyone.
Kopi Luwak.
God. Yo, Jamaican Blue Mountain. It's the best. It's Blue Mountain coffee. You realize what that is, right? Blue Mountain coffee, you could get that in fucking, like, Pennsylvania, I'm pretty sure.
But yeah,
Because it's technically Blue Mountains. I
Oh,
think that's
see what you
probably
mean.
a different...
I thought you meant you'd buy it.
I think I am actually totally wrong. I'm pretty sure it's
I'm
spelled out.
I'm gonna fix this, but I don't give a shit about the other typo.
Okay.
Let's talk about the essence of miracles. You get
At
essences.
Surgeons able to manipulate ethos and cure common diseases and maladies. Doing so often causes the surgeon to take on mild symptoms of the affliction. She cures, but only temporarily. Excuse me, that was disgusting. Provincials and
You
even
got a
other
demon
mages.
in you, boy. Did you get it out?
Provincials and even other mages. Sometimes.
Oh, we're just hating on these rural folk, are we not?
You fucking provincials.
This is clearly written from the bias
Yeah.
of some city slicker.
Sometimes believe a surgeon is performing a miracle. In reality, she's manipulating the various essences within a living creature and balancing them, called medicine. As such, surgeons find natural ailments moderately easy to cure. Ailments of the magical nature cannot be cured through the essence of miracles, but their effects can be slowed or muted or managed. This power has zero effect on those that are not living.
Well, I don't think this needs to be capitalized.
But it's magic.
A surgeon is able to manipulate ethos and cure common diseases and maladies. Doing so often causes the surgeon to take on mild symptoms of the affliction she cures, but only temporarily. So, take temporarily.
So she rolls in and cures common diseases and maladies.
Even in this instance, it's a miracle. In reality, she is manipulating it. Such surgeons find natural ailments moderately easy to cure.
You know, to be honest with you, I think, like, flavor text-wise, and what this means in the world, I think this should be a rank 3 expert or discovery. Just game mechanics, I think this should be switched with the ethos straw. But that's, I think, and I always shift towards balancing in terms of the setting, but this is not, it is pretty powerful. It's not powerful in a combative way. I mean, you are kind of like a prophet at this point.
It is on brand with Revive and Essence. And the other thing is, at here, it's a
Pounds of flesh
transfusion is good. I'm gonna make it pound of flesh, because that is the expression. And
Well,
this-
the idea is that pound of flesh is a lesser version because it hurts you, but it's really a completely different power, because that's healing people with that have taken damage who are actually like messed up, whereas the Essence of Miracles would not heal them that way. It would heal them.
yeah. Oh, I just meant I got rid of the.
No, I know
ones.
what you mean.
Um,
I think that it should be switched with one of those. The more that I think about it, what do you think?
I'm okay, but I also really like the idea of getting to rank 3 and then people thinking that you're the Messiah.
That is pretty cool. And
Like,
that's where it came
and
from. Right?
and like you, there's this reticence here where, like, I get it. Transfusion is scary.
Yeah.
But if looking at it in terms of realistically, when a player is making their character, they're going to be a low tier mage and won't be particularly frightening with their transfusion because of the limit of advancements they have. Or they're probably going to have rank 3 in their biomancy anyway. You know, and have revive too. So at that point, it goes out the door. I think transfusion is scary once you get into high manipulation and training dice and things, when you can actually do it at range.
That's a good point. The manipulation changes everything.
Yeah.
Some
I think
Zens and even other mages, by the way.
This is where you come in and it's like, oh god, they're walking on water. They're bringing back the dead. They're curing the sick.
Phone call, Jens, be back. Regulation of the stability and constant. Okay,
that's old. I like it at rank 3 with revive.
Okay, let's keep it there.
Just because of the whole Jesus thing.
Do we need to rephrase anything?
I was working on that. Some Zens, and even sometimes some Zens, and even the mages, believe a surgeon is performing a miracle. In reality, she's manipulating the various. What? Speak your mind.
I like the idea. I mean, this is fine. This is fine.
What did I do wrong?
No, you didn't do anything wrong.
What are you thinking?
I was thinking in terms of making it to where, kind of like a Numenera, where the cipher. It's not the cipher. What are they called? The wizards.
Nanos.
The nanos. Where the nanos, some of them actually believe they're doing magic, whereas others know that they're just manipulating science. I like the idea that you can play this, like the way it's written, if you're a surgeon, you're like, this is not magic, this is medicine. It's medicine in Craster. That's what it is.
Yeah.
While other mages might be like, whoa, you're blessed by the lady or Lumina.
Yeah.
I wonder though.
I think no matter how far. Sorry, no, please continue.
That idea of like, in this, surgeons realize the science of it. But I wonder if surgeons always do. You know?
I think that what is written here, what is set in stone is the mechanic. You know, and it fairly consistently reads that way. If they take it literally, okay, great, well, that's the character they're playing. But on the flip side, it's magicka. It's not science. It is art. And whether you understand its inner workings or not is irrelevant. Yeah, sure, maybe it is a miracle. You're a miracle because you believe that Lumina has blessed you with the ability to, and the opportunity to comprehend this magicka and use it, right? And
Fair
you
enough.
know, the stars have aligned, and it is your destiny to be this.
The blue star.
Yeah, you know.
What do you think of the wording?
That kind of stuff. I think it's fine.
Right.
Hold on, the last sentence. Ailments of a magical nature cannot be cured, but their effects can be slowed, muted, or managed. Slowed, muted, lessened.
Muted
is weird.
Muted. What that's looking for is
suppressed.
Suppressed.
I was looking for a better
suppressed
synonym.
is the word.
This power has zero effect on those that are not living. Yep. All right. So let's talk about the half-breed's
The
limb.
half-breed's limb regeneration.
Regeneration, limbs, organs, etc. Spend vitality lost from
Whoa.
lost. I can't do that. I was copyright strike.
No, you can sing it. Pretty sure you can sing it.
I guess it is fair use.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you can sing it.
It's
I mean,
just-
people fucking do it all the time. They get
It's-
famous off playing their goddamn guitars and doing like fucking
Yeah.
covers.
No, it's fair use. Oh, I just immediately went into.
All right, let's not talk about that right there, because I feel like that's.
There's even an ad at the end.
I feel like it is saying. Oh, it says an ad because it just doesn't have anything there. Whoo! Well, we've hit it.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. We'll do that off stream.
Oh shit! Let's read it.
The most skilled healers are known to be able to even grow limbs, regrow limbs, and make organs whole that their patients have lost or destroyed. Sorry, I lost this organ. Can you... Please, sir, can you find my lost organ? I was out walking it, and it ran away. It got off the leash.
This is fucking necromancy back there. These are returned to their best operating function.
I have diagnosed your computer virus.
Many of the aristocracy, god damn it, are known to keep healers of this skill level on call for whether by battle or more often than not their debaucherous lifestyles. They have need of repair.
They have the gout.
They have the gut.
Oh, darn your philandering ways.
Whether the loss occurred in the short term or a long time ago, healers who have this command of ethos seem to effortlessly make their patients whole again over time, or so it seems to an ignorant onlooker. Wow. In fact, regeneration requires a great deal of ethos to be spent on the part of the healer, or at the least, someone who is alive. As such, healers tend to spend hours, if not days, to perform their work so as to spread out the toll the process actually takes on their bodies and minds. A healer must spend an amount of wounds and sanity, or sanity, equal to that which has been lost, plus an additional d6. The process can be accomplished over time. Plot armor may not be used. So I think this top part was what is going on with 4B,
Yeah.
where it just gives the mechanic, and this bottom part was me quickly writing out before a game the flavor text
Yeah.
to give someone a couple traits.
It's not nearly as bad as I expected, but yeah, as soon as we started reading it, I'm like, okay, so that's the mechanic that predated
Right.
the flavor.
Right. So we need to work on that, and then we need to completely do this. Add flavor text, or actually description is what it is. Not flavor text, it's description. Okay, extinguish ignite, the Valkyr's call, you get extinguish/ignite. As death knell, stopping a heart, awakening a sleeping or deadened mind. Spend a breath, plus you need a shit ton of successes for every day that's passed. So extinguish and ignite, I feel like extinguish or ignite, we should just choose one.
So
Oh, I see what it is. Duh.
it's one, but so
Why don't you just do this?
so it's as death knell, which we already have as like a rank 1 power.
Well, this one is, it's as death knell, stopping a heart. So I'm thinking that what this does is it has no cap. This is the, you're dead.
Yeah.
Like this can, it doesn't deal a damage, it murders you.
Or-
It's implosion or destruction or whatever power
Yeah.
word kill. That's what it
I
is.
removed the
Yeah,
as
that's a good
death
idea.
knell because yeah.
Yeah, because it's not as death knell.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so last thoughts, because we're 12 minutes before 11. We might as well wrap this all nice up into a bow.
Sure.
And chit chat about it. Do we have anything to say about the Kickstarter?
So we're turning the Discord into a community Discord server for people who are interested in Dreadlore, the system, and
All of you should be on it.
the campaigns that we are running, or that you would like to run. And I am in the process of getting that set up and prepped for a bunch of strangers on the internet. And then we will be rolling out some accounts for gaming communities and Reddit and things like that. Is there a Discord link on dreadlore.com?
No. I will make a note in my to-do.
Make sure it's the link that doesn't expire. Actually, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to create an eternal link in the rules channel on Discord. And, I'm pretty sure it can pick me up. I've been in the yellow all night. As long as I'm not whispering. I've actually, my levels are higher than yours tonight.
Really?
Because it's so close.
Really?
Yeah. Also, I'm looking, I can speak right into it, and you're kind of hitting the side. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm cheating, but yeah. So I'm going to put it in the rules channel above the rules, the server rules.
Okay.
And just use that link, because that will be the link.
Okay.
Make sure you put that it's the one in the rules, because you will forget.
It's in the rules.
Rules channel.
Yeah, go ahead and tell, or you can continue.
So we're going to be hopping into gaming communities like Reddit and Giant in the Playground and all of that jazz, trying to get the word out, getting people to take a look at the book and try their hand at playing it or running it for their friends and get some feedback. The goal is to establish a network of guaranteed backers before we roll out this Kickstarter. Because from what we've heard, if you want your Kickstarter to be successful, you want like half your money, like
Pledged.
pre-pledged.
Yeah, pre-pledged. The whole
You want about half of the pledges you hope to obtain to pledge in advance. To pledge.
Right.
We were looking for people who will pledge to pledge.
And the reason of course, is, like in any business, do you actually think that you can make it? And if you can get 50% of what you're asking, then, or you think you can, then that's a pretty good deal. The second thing is, the way that apparently these crowdfunding things start, or do their algorithms, you want a bunch of pledges really early.
Yeah. Because if you do that, then you make it to the front of the website and suggest it and everything else.
Right.
Really getting over that hump, that 50% hump within the first couple of weeks is huge for the success of any crowdfunded project. Because it gives people more faith that you can do it. It tells them that the people that are handling this project are capable of fulfilling pledges. And it's a kind of groupthink, right? It's a potent psychological effect that we're going to prey upon. But
yeah, if something is doing well, then you're like, oh yeah, that's doing well.
If they say they can do it, people must know something about these guys. They're gonna, and really that's what we're hoping for, that people see enough in this project and in us that they know that we're going to deliver on a book full of really cool fucking art.
Yeah.
So I say prey upon, it's obviously a joke. But yeah, so the Kickstarter is really only about the art in the book and rolling out some really nice case-bound or hard copy books to anyone who wants to have them. If the Kickstarter doesn't go for whatever reason, and even before then, we're going to be rolling out essentially a PDF that is playable and everything else. So the Kickstarter will not be about funding that. It will be about making it into something that you would be proud to display on your bookshelf with all of your other gaming materials.
Right.
So,
Right.
and that's what we hope for.
And what we've been working on lately is this PDF. So the PDF that'll be showcased on the Kickstarter will be, I'm calling it a mock-up. So it doesn't really tell you how to play the game so much. It's kind of a teaser. It tells a lot more about the setting and the feel of the game, and then it gives some basic mechanics. So Ben and I actually ran a sort of a starter Dreadlord campaign at the Renaissance Festival,
Mm-hmm.
and we essentially took the bare bones of the system, not the full rule set, but the bare bones of the system, and ran it for a group of people that had, one, never played, and several of them had never really played much tabletop at all. And it went over quite well. So this PDF, it'll have those kind of rules. Because it's not so much about the rules, it's about showcasing the lore, the feel, the immersive narration, and the sort of fantasy punk. It'll have a bunch of art in it and all that kind of stuff. And that PDF will be, when you, what do they call them, the perks?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you donate or pledge or whatever it's
Yeah.
called, when you back it, you would get that
pledge
PDF.
rewards.
In the event the Kickstarter doesn't work, we'll essentially, like he said, take the book, make it a PDF. It's, at that point, it's really more of a manual. It's a document that we might make it a little bit nicer. And it's the one that you guys have seen us do most of the time.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the plan. And that's not going to go, thank you, Daniel. Yes, we have set up the Discord server.
You're in it.
You should be in it.
Yeah, you joined it a few months back. Actually, in the Richmond Fay game, when you were Marad Hatun.
Which we played today, and I NPC'd you.
Yeah, and you were very, very handy with that bow.
Very, very lethal. But yeah, Ben is organizing the Discord server. So yeah, Megan, you need to get on it if you're on Discord. I would be very surprised if you weren't on Discord.
Indeed.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what we have. As you can see, we have our work cut out for us for the Kickstarter, of course, and then for copy editing the book. We're going to have to do some work before next live stream to shore up Erin Flame, those discrepancies. As in those descriptions, as well as we might as well go through and fix Biomancy.
Mm-hmm.
That way we can actually move on from it and get to the unnatural. I know it was in the server, but I didn't know if it was that one. Yeah, it's that one.
It is the one.
The one.
It's the only one we got.
All right, do you guys have any questions for us about the Kickstarter or about the book or what our intentions are, or any of that good stuff? If you do, let us know. Now, preferably.
Yeah.
And yeah, anything else?
I got nothing.
That's kind of it. Oh yeah, if you have any suggestions as to how we can promote in the community, so on Giants in the Playground, Reddit, any particular subreddits or whatever, if you're on those things, then what is it? Do you give karma?
Yeah.
How do you, donate your karma or whatever it's called? Yeah, and if you know anybody that is of our target audience, which is mostly gamers, but actually we were starting to think about this. Who is the target audience for Dreadlord, right? Because there's a blue million indie game systems out there. And despite my natural predilections, I'm trying to not be so negative. So our target audience is writers, actors, voice actors, game masters, storytellers, people who are more interested when it comes to role-playing games about the immersive narrative qualities, but they still want a little bit of the crunch, a little bit of the robust mechanical nature. They don't want to get drowned out by it and have it stymie the narrative. This is stymie. That's what that is. This is like garrote. And that's the target. So if you know people that are writers, storytellers, game masters, those kinds of people, they will probably, one, really like playing Dreadlore, and two, really like running it. Because that's really what the system promotes. And then you have people like again, we like D20, we play it. But I think people that are in love with D20, getting into Dreadlore, it's a gear shift. It's kind of like if you think that a role-playing game is Final Fantasy or like World of Warcraft, that is a role-playing game, but it's a gear shift to get into a different kind of system. So yeah, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Last thoughts. We have 1 minute. What's a good song?
I don't know.
You.
No, we can't end on that. We can't end on a bad note.
What's a good one? We don't know any.
I'm kind of looking at that hamster on this box.
There's a hamster on the box that my computer's sitting on. It's pretty good. Night, Holker.
Yeah.
Peace out, man. Thanks for sticking with us. Back. Noni says hello. Ohio. Alright, so Megan, you got back just in time for us to bazounce.
Yep.
But what we were talking about has to do with, I'm going to catch her up really quick.
Yeah.
Has to do with the Kickstarter that we're going to do. Dance.
I'm not dancing.
Dance.
No.
Damn it.
No, because they're just going to see my like crotch in the camera. I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
No.
Alright.
You doing it.
Okay, so...
Yes.
I wonder what that looks like.
We're about to find out here.
We're about to find out here in about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the Kickstarter. Here we go. I'm watching.
You boys.
We are
serious.
And the idea that Ben is starting a couple accounts for the community, which we're labeling like Reddit, subreddit, Giants in the Playground. If you're on that, absolutely like or follow us or whatever it's called. And I'm going to be adding a bunch of stuff to the DreadLore.com. Ben is working on the Dreadlore Discord server. So if you're not on the Discord server, get on it. Mm-hmm. And we can send you a link and all that good stuff. So, Megan, we didn't know if you were on Discord. We figured you were. And whoever else is watching. If you're not on the Discord, get on it. Because we're going to start really using that as kind of like the home base. Mm-hmm. I am going to start putting these videos. We're going to continue doing the live stream on Something Bunkum. But I'm going to start putting these videos on the actual Dreadlore YouTube as well. And potentially in the future, we'll switch GameTalk to that. But for right now, we're going to stick on Something Bunkum. Because that's where my subscribers are. And then the other thing we were talking about was just kind of what the target audience of Dreadlore is, which we, through some of our meetings about the Kickstarter, have redefined as basically who would really, really like the game. Well, game masters, storytellers, dreamers, actors, voice actors, writers, those kinds of people.
Really, anyone whose play experience, who would desire for their play experience to revolve around character and story development rather than iterative power increases.
Right. Right.
If it's not about power fantasy and more about just a cool fucking story.
And nothing's wrong with power fantasy.
No.
Again, like we were saying before, we were literally just playing.
Our day-to-day was essentially from afternoon up until like breaking for a meal and into the live stream was D&D.
Yeah,
we played 5th edition all afternoon until like 6 o'clock, and we broke for getting some food real quick before this started.
Right. So,
So.
there's no hate towards D20 and that kind of stuff. There's frustration on my part, but you know, it's really what kind of game are you trying to go for. So
Yeah.
what does Dreadlore? What kind of people are really going to love it? That are it's going to actually speak to.
Mm-hmm.
Was one of the things that we ran into before when we would take it on to cons was we noticed that people really they'd start playing it and they would like it, but it was a mentality shift. Their expectations were more of a D20 idea of, well, how do I get to the next level? Well, how do I get the better armor? Well, how do I advance? And a lot of these other systems, that's the fun, you know? That's the fun in the game. That's how you gauge everything.
Like in the first 10 pages of 5th edition, it tells you like how much XP it costs to get to the next level. Character advancement comes before, in some regards, it comes before you picking anything about your character at all.
Yeah, you actually don't, in a role-playing game of that nature, you don't technically have to roleplay. Because a lot of the work is done for you. What are you? Well, I'm a blank blank who blanks. Well, I'm a fighter, and I'm lawful good. So this is what I think, and here's my background, and that's how I act.
I used to be a sailor.
And I roll the damage, and now I gain a level. And that's a lot of fun. But Dreadlore it's not going to scratch that itch if that's what you're looking for. And we ran into that. Some people are like, well, I want to get more powerful. And we're like, well, the game isn't really facilitating that. What it is doing is saying, you are building a character that you want to play, and you're getting immersed in that narrative. And these rules promote that, and they reward doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna be able to do that more, and be like, holy shit, you know, my mage. I'm playing a mage who thinks magic is the devil and won't do magic anymore. You can play that character in Dreadlord, and it will be fun and useful. Whereas if you try to do that in a class-based system, you just wouldn't pick wizard as your class. You'd pick fighter as your class, and the flair would be that you had magic and you don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to have a bad time.
Otherwise, you're going to have like 5 dead levels
Yeah.
and be useless to the rest of the party and not have fun because you're not pulling the same damage that they are. But something that I noticed, you brought up those con experiences, and really, it is a case of...
I'm really trying to not be negative, and it's hard.
It really is a case of show, don't tell. We had a lot of people come in who were excited to play a new game. I'm not going to talk about the people that were like, oh, you made this game? Oh, right.
Which did happen.
It happened. It happened. So, you know, a lot of times, if you're not a big name, they don't care. They're not interested. But we had a lot of people who came in who were really excited to play it, had a lot of fun. But initially, you know, we tell them things like, okay, just bear in mind, this is a kind of setting where if you get into a sword fight, you could quite literally die, and then that's it. You know, because the game, I think, was more deadly than it is now.
It was way more deadly at 1.7.
Yeah, but even now, it's still pretty harsh compared to other games that are about a power fantasy. And this, we would tell them things to shift expectation away from a game grounded in combat and more towards a game grounded in roleplay and storytelling. And they would say, oh, that sounds cool, yeah, I want to play that. And then they would get confused once the game started because it was so counter to what they were accustomed to. You know, their brain was like, oh, hell yeah, something new, but then was operating on those old assumptions until they were actually shown in the game how Dreadlore was different.
Right.
And they very much so enjoyed it, like he said, but a lot of times something that we found is that there are still to this day, especially just because of how popular D&D is, that is the big boogeyman in I think tabletop game development. It is such a ubiquitous household name in TTRPGs that the expectations that it sets are the expectations of TTRPG players.
It's like any lore. If you say elf, what immediately do you think of? Most people are like, oh, right, like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like, that is an elf. What's a dwarf? Well, actually, they're going to think D&D dwarf, but they're actually thinking of Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Just that kind of stuff.
All dwarves speak in a ridiculously over-the-top Scottish accent.
Of course.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, but they're just tropes and such.
Right.
And we're working against that.
Those expectations exist for a reason, and we're working against a very strong cultural bias. And we will continue to do so. But again, this is not hate on D&D. We play D&D. It's a lot of fun. It scratches a different itch, though, and it's sort of a bugbear. So that is sort of us. Yeah, that is us honing on our target audience, I guess.
Right. So that's the long and the short of it. Tolkien is a common trope. Yeah. For reals. Well, actually, something that I read not too long ago. It was about Tolkien's letters, I think, to Christopher Tolkien, and I think it was to him, and he was talking about how he was frustrated. Mind you, this is Tolkien saying this in like the 40s or 50s or something, and he was talking about how he was frustrated with the news that was reporting on his books, because he was getting a lot of flack that his elves and dwarves and hobbits and such, and his lore was departing from normal fairy tales. Because, before Tolkien, what were the fairy tales? It was normal mythos, Grimm's tales, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And
crazy shit out of Poland.
crazy shit out of Poland. And Tolkien was attempting to write a fairy tale body of work for England because he felt like it really didn't have it. But even in his time, him writing, like Tolkien writing Tolkien, he had to say, no, damn it, an elf isn't a little wee person over there who lives in the glen. That's not what it is. In my world, it's this. And he had those same kind of, that fight against tropes.
Mm-hmm.
So even Tolkien had to do it, damn it.
But he won that fight, and he won it so hard
that he became it. All right. We are out, everybody. We will see you next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye. Get on the Dreadlore server. Yeah.
Yep.
On Discord.
Goodbye.
Peace.
People had posted on the Discord.